Hi class, Alec here. Today we're going to talk about perfect competition. Perfect competition, the best way to understand it is by first looking at the market structure. The market is characterized by a large number of small firms. They are all producing a product that is identical. This is a perfect substitute. There are no barriers to entry. Barriers to entry are things that make it difficult for a firm to enter a market. It is not difficult to enter this market. And the resulting implications for the firms in a perfectly competitive industry are that they have no market power. Market power is the ability to alter price. They have no ability to change the price. They simply take the market price as given. And then in terms of production, they find the profit maximizing output where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And I'll talk more about that in a second. At the bottom of the page, you can see here that we're introducing a new definition, sticking with our marginal concepts. Marginal revenue is the change in total revenue from selling one more unit. It's equal to the delta TR over a delta Q, where delta Q is equal to 1. So let's go back up to our modeling here. We have three graphs. And let me change this real quick. This is the firm at time period 1. Sorry about that. Get that right. And the firm at time period 2. Here is the market over at the left. The interaction of supply and demand, of course, will determine the equilibrium price and quantity. We're going to run this line across, and then the firm simply responds to this price. Price is given. So imagine this. Imagine that we're in an agriculture market. We're farmers of soy. Does it fit our definition of the market structure? Yeah, there's a large number of small soybean farmers in the United States. A soybean is a soybean. There's no difference in my soybeans and another farm's soybeans. And it's pretty easy to get into the industry. So now the market for soybeans determines the price. I simply take that price as given, and here is price. This is going to be equal to a marginal revenue curve, and it's a perfectly elastic marginal revenue curve in line with our assumption that the products are identical. Now, imagine this. I can sell a pound of soybeans in the market for $2. That would be equal to, that would be the same no matter how many units I sold. So if I sell one unit, I can sell it at $2. If I sell 100 units, I can sell each unit at $2. I have no control over the price. So I simply take the price as given. This is equal to my marginal revenue curve, and I find out where these two curves intersect. And that will give me my Q star. That's my profit maximizing rate of output, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. I follow this line and see where it hits the ATC. And now we know this. Now we have, let's use blue as our total revenue box. Price times quantity equals total revenue. Let's use red as our total cost box. ATC times Q is equal to total cost. You can clearly see that the revenue box is greater or bigger than the cost box. That must be an indication of the profits I receive. That box is as big as possible. Given that I've selected Q star, any other level of production would result in a profit box that is smaller. So the profit maximizing rate of output is found where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. In economics, we would describe these as above normal profits. I'm doing really well compared to what I could use my resources doing other things. So now notice what happens. This above normal profits will attract entry. Other farmers will get into the soy business. Well, will they not? So we would know that as the number of sellers increases, the number of farmers increase, the supply curve shifts over to the right, and there's nothing to keep them out. I would go from this equilibrium to now a P2 Q2 equilibrium where price has fallen and quantity has increased. This now gives me a new price line, and I'm going to go over to the firm at time period 2. It has the same cost structure. It's just going to face a different price and different marginal revenue curve. And I'm going to run it all the way through here like this. It does the same thing. It takes price as given, put a cap on that. It's equal to marginal revenue. And we follow the same logic to find the profit maximizing rate of output, Q star, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. But now you can see clearly that the decrease in the price has caused my profits to fall, right? So notice what happens here. Here's my average total cost curve. Here is my profits at time period 2. My profit box has shrunk, and there's nothing I can do about it. Entry is easy. Firms are looking at, these are profit maximizers now. They're looking at prices and profits and determining how to allocate their resources. So if they see me and other farmers making profits in the production of soy, farmers are going to shift over into the production of soy, and that's where we see the entry. This is 2 short-run equilibriums, firm at time period 1 and firm at time period 2. You can see downward pressure on price. What does the firm do in the longer run or the intermediate term? This is what we call market dynamics. Okay, here is, now we're talking about how does a firm respond to these price decreases and the erosion of their profits. Well, I'm giving you a scenario right here where the average total cost curve is equal to price, therefore profits are equal to 0. This, you can see that the marginal revenue curve is just touching the bottom of the ATC. In this case, again, price is equal to ATC and profits are equal to 0. What do I do as a farmer? I could lower my fixed costs. If I lower my fixed costs, that would in effect, shift my ATC down. I don't change the profit maximizing rate of output. I simply now, well, let's go back up over here. This would be ATC2. I now have a profit box back. But what does this do? This would be above normal profits, and this would invite entry, and that would change the supply up and result in the price going down. So although I'm able to recoup my profit box, it's fleeting. It's not going to last for long. Another thing I could do is I could change my total variable costs. I could go out and maybe get a new type of fertilizer or negotiate with my workers to have a lower wage. There's things I could do to affect my total variable cost. In this case, both the marginal cost curve and the average total cost curve would shift down. So we have marginal cost 2, ATC2. I would adjust my production, find it again. Here would be Q star 2. You can see that I have lowered my ATC to ATC2, and I'm able to gather or acquire an above normal profit box. But what happens? It's the same thing. Above normal profits invite entry, which pushes the supply curve up and causes the price to decrease. So the conclusion here is that market dynamics says there's intense pressures on firms in a competitive industry to lower their costs. As they lower their costs, they're going to increase supply and result in a higher price. A lower price. And that lower price, again, incentivizes them to look for ways to reduce their costs. In the long run, the virtues of competition, we can see here in the lower left corner. In the long run, after everything is said and done, after all new technologies that have been exhausted, after all cost cutting formulas have been engaged, in the long run, the price and marginal revenue curve lies just tangent, just touching the bottom of the ATC. So the virtues of competition in the long run is that price will be equal to minimum ATC. And we can see, and this is called least cost production. In the long run, competitive markets will produce a given amount of output at the least cost to society. Okay? And another thing that happens here is price is equal to marginal cost. We can rewrite that and say marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. And we know that is allocative efficiency. The value that society places on the last unit produced, marginal revenue, is exactly equal to the cost of producing it. So now we have a Pareto optimal outcome. And that's the long run in perfect competition. Talk to you later. Bye.